Okay, you've made it. You're almost at the end. The last thing you need to do is write your conclusion. I'm looking for 4 to 6 sentences. I think the conclusion for most of my students tends to be the hardest part of an essay. However, I think it should be, while maybe challenging, also a lot of fun, because it's the one place where you can kind of go out of the box and away from a formula in your paper. So, the goal of your conclusion is to think, or make your reader think about the big ideas or big picture. So, you're kind of answering that so what question. So what? Why does this matter? You know, how is your reader understanding Amanda Gorman's poem going to improve them in some way or help them look at a different perspective? So if you think of your intro as the inverted triangle or the upside down triangle, going from more general to more specific information, so general information leading to your thesis, then your conclusion is the opposite. So you're restating your thesis and then going to more general, more worldly ideas. So how does this connect to your reader on a bigger level? So at the top of the triangle is your thesis. So again, you're going to restate your thesis. So you still have the same thesis, but you just want to write it in a different way. One advice I give is look at your sentence or your thesis in your intro and see if you can just kind of flip-flop the words. So, for example, you see here, it says the author is able to emphasize that nature provides an idealistic escape to create a content and peaceful life. So maybe their actual thesis was kind of flip-flopped. It just said something like, in order to attain a content and peaceful life, one must go into nature. Okay, after you've restated your thesis, you'll complete any of the other steps in yellow in whatever order makes the most sense for you to go from more specific information to more general. So the first thing you might do is just synthesize your information, which means you're putting parts together to form new meaning or structure. So sometimes what I'll do is just give a brief overview of the information presented in my paper. A lot of times if it's text-based, I might try to save a quote or a piece of text that I really liked that I didn't get to mention for whatever reason in my body paragraph. So that's always an option too. Then you're going to answer the so what question. So think of yourself sitting with a friend and you're telling them what you just wrote and they just keep saying so what. Kind of like, what's the point? And try to answer that question. And then then picture them saying to you again, so what? And just really kind of get to the nitty gritty, like what's the purpose of this? And on a grander scale, not just like my teacher made me do it because that's the easy answer, but why is this an important text? What did Amanda Gorman want people to think about? What did she want them to go out and do as a result? How can you kind of answer to her as the reader? And then it says you can provide a new important detail, quotation, or vivid image not detailed in your body paragraphs. Usually when I'm reading something, I'll just be like, oh my gosh, I really like this. This speaks to me. So it'll probably also speak to other readers. I know, for example, that final quote for "There is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it." That is now like on the doors of a lot of classrooms in this building because it's kind of like you have the opportunity to help make this change. Like it's up to you. And that's impactful for a reader when we feel like someone's speaking to us. And then finally end by giving the reader something to think about. So you can make a prediction, explain a consequence. So if you do this, then this will happen. Give a warning, universalize, which means comparing to other situations, or discuss the impact. So let me give you 2 samples. The first one is not the greatest, and I only say that because it was written on the poem I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud, and that was really just about going into nature and finding peace. And I feel like besides mentioning connections to nature, how else can you really universalize that? Like, are you going to go tell someone, like, go pick a dandelion and you'll feel better? I don't know. But the person still does the job, and that's what I want you to see through the first sample. So he or she says, through using the literary element personification, the author is able to emphasize the point that nature provides an idealistic escape to create a content and peaceful life. So again, restating that thesis here, they talked about personification in their piece, so they're just drawing attention to that again. And then this is the synthesis. The primary focus of the speaker in the poem was the daffodils, as they captivated him the most. So that's just, here's the biggest takeaway. The daffodils captivated him the most. And then she is getting more general, she or he. Through this observation of nature, the speaker finds true peace within himself. And then a very general statement, nature is truly beautiful in its simplicity and is why many choose to picture themselves living in it. So again, I don't think this is like worded so formally, or I don't know, there's not this like grandiose idea, but he or she does the job here. Now sample 2 is from that poem by Langston Hughes, Harlem, or Dreams Deferred. And I feel like that definitely opened up more opportunity for a conclusion to relate to society today. And so I wrote this second one. I said, Hughes's poem questions whether racial inequality leads to despair for African Americans who have had to defer their dreams. I actually reworded that from Miss Kelly's thesis in the intro here. Okay, and it was very similar. So if you want to see a comparison of how to change your thesis, the wording, so it says the same, has the same meaning but says something different, then look at those. All right, I continue. His poem was written in 1951, but is timeless, relating to events still prevalent in American society. So you can already feel him getting a little more general. When reading the final lines, the reader is left to wonder if the explosion symbolizes the deep-seated frustrations of African Americans who are unable to realize their dreams, or is the explosion like that of a firework, one of beauty and hope? So I really actually got this idea from our discussion, and I feel like a lot of critics analyze the poem and say the explosion is negative, like African Americans can't realize their dreams, but I don't know if that's his message, and I think a lot of people had a different idea that the explosion was positive, and if they put off their dreams, that having them held back will make them come back even stronger. So I was really playing off that idea, kind of offering a different perspective. And then my final sentence is, perhaps Hughes is saying that despite having to put off their dreams, people of color in America can still see their dreams explode or come to fruition through determination and the demand for racial justice. And yes, I love this conclusion. I'm so proud of myself. I did really good. I'm not gonna lie. Tell me that's not good. It's good. All right, I'm offering something new that wasn't in my body paragraph. My body paragraph was more just like analysis. This is what this line means. This is what this line means. And my conclusion's like, here's the big ideas. This is what people should be thinking about. And this is how it relates to today. And I really like it.